World War II ended when atomic bombs were dropped, forcing the surrender of Japan and ending a planned Allied invasion. In this photograph, the Trinity atomic bomb is shown just before it was successfully tested in 1945. Then, overnight, the United States and the Soviet Union went from allies to enemies, and in 1947, the Truman Doctrine to resist communism was announced. Interestingly, Truman had never heard of the atomic bomb or the Manhattan Project that developed it until President Franklin Roosevelt died earlier in the year. When he traveled to the Potsdam Conference for post-war planning with Churchill and Stalin, he was surprised by Stalin's lack of reaction to his announcement that the United States had successfully exploded an atomic bomb. Stalin did not react because he had spies within both the American and British programs, and he had already purloined plans for the bomb. It is important to note that the bombing of Japan was successful because the Japanese air defenses had already been destroyed. But as the Cold War took hold, slow-moving aircraft carrying nuclear weapons were understood to be extremely vulnerable to countermeasures. In addition to the interceptor aircraft, missiles were also developed with nuclear warheads and were deployed to blow attacking aircraft from the skies. Those missile systems ringed the San Francisco Bay for years. It was clear that a less vulnerable delivery system was needed to make the strategy to prevent nuclear war by mutually assured destruction a credible threat. A program to deploy nuclear-tipped missiles on undetectable submarines hidden beneath the seas began almost immediately, and Mare Island was in the middle of that program for years. Here you see the Mare Island-built USS Cusk firing a Loon missile in 1947. If the missile looks familiar, it should. It was built with German plans for the buzz bombs that rained down on England during World War II. Once it was proven that the Loon missile could be launched and guided from a submarine, the challenge was designing a missile bay that would hold a battery of missiles while submerged. Here, Mare Island Project personnel work on Project Lehigh during the development of just such a missile bay. In those days, before computer-aided software, mock-ups of designs were built to identify interferences and check functionality. Here you see a completed missile bay emerging from Mare Island Structural Shop as part of Project Lehigh. And here you see a missile bay armed with Regulus missiles installed on the Mare Island-built USS Tunney on the Mare Island waterfront. The Tunney deployed for 11 deterrent patrols in this configuration, and with the success of that system, Mare Island continued development of the system. The next milestone achievement for Mare Island was the world's first purpose-built missile submarine, the USS Grayback, and that was followed soon after when Mare Island commissioned the only nuclear-powered Regulus missile submarine, the USS Halibut. As remarkable as the Regulus program was, another program called the Polaris program soon eclipsed it, and Mare Island turned its attention to building a different type of missile boat. Like the Regulus program, the Polaris missile was designed to be carried by submarines, but the similarities ended there. The Regulus missile was a cruise missile fired from a surfaced submarine and was of limited range. The Polaris missile was a ballistic missile fired while submerged and of much greater range. Once a Polaris missile left its launch tube, it was unstoppable. In this video, you see a couple of ballistic missiles launched from a submarine. As each missile is fired, they streak into the upper atmosphere, where multiple warheads are then released on their ballistic trajectory towards their target. During the 1960s, Mare Island was focused on building the nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine fleet that was central to U.S. nuclear strategy known as the Triad. Under the Triad, submarines constituted the most credible and survivable aspect of nuclear deterrence. Thank you for your interest in Mare Island Naval Shipyard and how it factored so importantly into the establishment of our country's presence on the Pacific coast while projecting that presence worldwide. This iconic photograph captures a critical moment in time as U.S. Marines plant the U.S. flag atop Mount Suribachi on the Japanese home island of Iwo Jima. The bloody invasion of Iwo Jima was the culmination of a naval and island-hopping campaign that ended the brutal Japanese imperialistic war of aggression in the Pacific during World War II. As battle continued to rage, this flag was pulled from a landing craft and run up to the mountaintop for all to see. Put on display in a case at the National Marine Corps Memorial in Washington, D.C. decades later, it was discovered that the welt of the flag was labeled with Mare Island Flag Loft. Its place in the logistical chain and its role in that battle make this flag a fitting metaphor for Mare Island's 142 years of service, building and maintaining the fleet and providing the men and material necessary to implement our nation's strategic objectives. Come see us firsthand where history happened at Mare Island. Tour the Mare Island Historic District, hold your event in one of our amazing venues, or support us in our mission to build greater unity by an increased mutual understanding of our shared heritage.